This is the Giants POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Francisco Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants POSTCAST. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac morning show on KMBR, or maybe from some of these other Locked On Sports postcasts we do. We also do the Locked On Warriors and Locked On 49ers postcast. But today, the Giants were swept by the Detroit Tigers as the offense let them down yet again at Comerica Park. With the tying run on third and the winning run on second in the eighth inning with nobody out, the Giants had a perfect opportunity to at least tie this game, but could not score either runner. Ended up being a death sentence for this team today. And while Landen Roupp was pretty solid, the Giants absolutely could not muster enough run support to get a win. This is now the 11th consecutive game in which the Giants have failed to score more than 4 runs. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Giants YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, and however you tune in, we appreciate it. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick always does a great job. And first off, I just want to apologize to everyone. We're a little late starting the show today. I do have a day job, and I had a meeting that started virtually at the exact same time that this Giants game ended. So there was me sitting in this meeting, which could have been an email, just kind of waiting for it to end and tapping my fingers. Okay, yep, yeah, let's go. Come on. I got to go yell about this damn Giants team, which is, just awful. Right now, this team is so infuriating to watch. My blood pressure is like through the roof right now, just watching the way that this game panned out. The Giants actually hit pretty well today. Overall, they had 10 hits, had a couple extra base hits. They even had a home run. Matt Chapman had a couple doubles. Lamont Wade Jr. had a double. Ramos had a bomb. The team was overall hitting pretty well, but 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and you left 10 on base. They also drew 4 walks in this one. So, all the ingredients were there, but it was like the chef that had all the right ingredients, and then just, I don't know what they did with them. It's like they mixed them all at the same time, like dries and wet stuff into the same bowl, and just poured it into a pot and hoped that it was going to generate some kind of like edible dish. And that is not what is happening right now for the Giants. There's nothing about this game that really gave you like a feel-good end to this series. Despite the fact that they were able to get 10 hits, maybe you're looking at that saying this is something positive to look forward to going forward. For me, I'm looking at this going, the Giants got all these hits and they still couldn't figure out how to get one with a runner in scoring position. They had exactly one of those today. They had 9 opportunities. That is awful. This is one of the worst offensive teams in Major League Baseball right now. They're now just 6 games over 500, so you're still in decent shape as far as the record goes, but the free fall feels like it's looming right now. Like this team, anything that can go wrong will. And we got to talk about that 8th inning because that was today's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And man, the 8th inning was absolutely the biggest point of this game. Maybe you might want to say that 5th inning where the Tigers erupted for all 4 of their runs in that 5th inning, got a couple off Landen Roupp before he came out. Randy Rodriguez gave up a key situation hit, which he usually does not do. But for me, even after that, the Giants had every opportunity in the world to tie this game in the 8th inning. At least you got to tie the damn game. Even a ground ball to like the shortstop or the second baseman probably scores that run from third. But no, you get first off, that inning started very strangely because in between the 7th and 8th innings, you had a grounds crew guy get hurt, and it took forever to get this guy off the field. They had to bring out the cart for this guy, and when they brought out the cart, he all of a sudden, like, he stood up and walked over to it, even though he had some help. I was like, why couldn't this guy just hobble off the field prior? What is happening? So he's sitting there on the ground for what felt like 30 minutes, even though it was probably less than that. And he's sitting there holding his knee, and the camera gets like a nice close up on him, and this guy starts flipping off the camera. Like, what? I don't know what this guy is doing out there. All I can interpret that as is he's a Giants spy planted in the Detroit Tigers franchise in their grounds crew, and he's sending a message to everybody on the Giants, like, yeah, blank you guys, get this S going, like, do something, please. That's the message that I took from that. But then we had I thought it was maybe going to be like a pivot point for the Giants, seeing that grounds crew guy go down, because then Adames reaches on the first as the first batter of the inning via catcher's interference, which they actually reviewed and later on decided that it was indeed catcher interference. Willy Adames signaled to the dugout to look for, or to challenge for the play, to review it, because he clearly hit the glove and it wasn't called originally. So Adames reaches, then Lamont Wade Jr. gets a double on a blooper to left field. Like, the guy who's had, countless lower body injuries in the last year or two, and just seemed like he couldn't run at all at the end of last season. And he's noticeably slower now than he was just a couple years ago. That guy somehow motors over to second base on a blooper to left field. Adames gets to third base with nobody out. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, the Giants are finally being aggressive again. We talked on last night's show about how this team needs to start being more aggressive on the base pass. And look, they must have been watching the Locked On Giants postcast, because they're taking extra bases. They are trying to win this game. They do not want to get swept in Detroit. And up comes Pat Bailey, who has a meager little fly out to shallow left field, not nearly deep enough to score anyone. Then you have Christian Koss come up, and I feel bad dumping on Christian Koss because he was playing pretty well when he was in there every day. And obviously it's hard to come up off the bench in sparing situations and have a rhythm offensively. But they weren't looking for this guy to have a rhythm and come up there and get a base hit. They were looking for him to lay down a bunt, and he couldn't even do that. It ends up striking out. And then you have Mikey Yaz up there with 2 outs, and he just hits like a little ground ball to the first baseman where he barely has to move, just takes like 2 steps on the bag. Inning over, threat over, Giants' chances of winning this game over. And this is a problem at this point. Like, it's not becoming a problem. It's not like, oh, maybe if the Giants don't pull out of this, then maybe some things will get bad. This is a red flag right now. Like, the ship is starting to sink, and you can either just sit there and rearrange chairs on the Titanic, or you can go jump in a lifeboat and figure out another plan. And what I mean by that, the lifeboat, that's a trade. Like, going out and getting a guy like Rhys Hoskins. I know Ben did a whole show on trade options for the Giants and talked a lot about Rhys Hoskins recently. That is what they should do. Rhys Hoskins is the lifeboat on the Titanic that is the Giants right now, because everything looked really good at the beginning of the season. And if I can draw a comparison to another Bay Area sports team, the Golden State Warriors, they looked phenomenal at the start of this season. They were like 12-3. Buddy Hield looked like he was going to be the next generation of Klay Thompson somehow. And then reality set in. Everyone realized that this team couldn't shoot. And all of a sudden it was Steph versus the world. And that's kind of what it feels like right now with the Giants. It's Elliot Ramos versus the world. He's the only guy on this team who seems to want to hit the baseball. And instead, you get, like, he's doing his job. He had 3 hits today. He had a home run today. He had a couple RBIs and a run scored. Elliot Ramos did his job today. Nobody else on this Giants team felt like contributing much. Matt Chapman, couple doubles. We can give him a pass on today as well. But what did the Warriors do when in the middle of this season that completely changed their fortune? That completely saved them from the sinking Titanic that was the Warriors early in the season. They went out and traded for Jimmy Butler. And I'm not saying that Rhys Hoskins is Jimmy Butler, but it's a version of a life raft, a smaller life raft, if you will. Jimmy's life raft is nice and big, got everybody on the Warriors whole franchise in that life raft with him. But with Rhys Hoskins, he can at least cover up some of these glaring holes in the middle of this Giants order. I mean, you need another bat. You absolutely need another bat. Jung-Hoo Lee 0 for again today. Wilmer Flores just 1 for 5. Like, you can't have your 4-5 hitters combining to go 1 for 9. Like, that's not going to win you many games in Major League Baseball. Willy Adames, again, 0 for. I mean, I know he reached base a couple times with the catcher's interference and with the walk, but you got to have more than that from your most expensive free agent signing in team history, in franchise history. You need more than just a couple times on base and no real key hits or anything in clutch moments. Like, you need more than this. And so for the Giants, go get that life raft. Go get Rhys Hoskins. Add some oomph to the middle of this order. Please, for the love of God, do something Don't just continue to do what you're doing. Get halfway through the season and realize, oh, we got to go find a guy off waivers after the trade deadline, because you're just picking from the scrap heap at that point. You got to make a move before your backs are against the wall. And I know that in today's Major League Baseball lexicon, with the 3 wildcard teams, a lot of teams feel like they're still in contention as long as they can, as long as that 3rd wildcard spot is in their sights. They're not really going to do anything for a lot of teams. They're going to stand pat, continue to roll with what they have, and hope that they get hot. That's a really bad choice, if you're asking me. You're leaving the fate of your franchise and of this season up to essentially luck. You're just crossing your fingers and saying, hey, maybe something good will happen. Take matters into your own hands. If you are this Giants front office, take matters into your own hands. Go out, make a trade, plug a bat into the middle of this order, specifically a first baseman, because we know that first base has been very bad for the Giants this year. Lamont Wade Jr. did have a couple doubles in this one, or at least one double. One was ruled a double, one was ruled a single, but he did end up on second base after 2 separate at-bats today, which is, it's not bad, but the consistency is just not there. And don't forget about Pat Bailey coming in to pinch hit for Sam Huff. I do not know why the hell that happened. It was just a very dumb choice to bring in a guy batting 174 in for Sam Huff, who in his sparing days, Huff's got some pop. He can at least give you a deep fly ball to score a run. Maybe he's not gonna smash a double into the gap, but he's at least going to get you that run home from third. So that was a mind-boggling decision by Bob Melvin, in my opinion. But there was a lot of things that compounded in this Giants loss today. And Landen Roupp was actually pretty good. He did give up 4 runs as all the inherited runners that Randy Rodriguez entered the game with ended up scoring. So that's a bit of a bummer for Roupp, who I thought pitched decently today, not as well as he has in his last 2 starts, but ultimately he was all right. We'll talk about his day next. And we also got a shakeup at the back end of the Giants bullpen. Both of those things coming up next on the Locked On Giants postcast. Today's show is sponsored by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. It's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. It comes with all sorts of surprising insights. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and now I budget smarter and save more. It also gives you all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today a very, very, very frustrating loss by the Giants today. Had every opportunity to win this one, instead fall 4-3 to the Detroit Tigers, and you had every opportunity to at least tie or win the game in that 8th inning. And the Giants, I mean, the offense is just miserable right now. That is no doubt about it. But the pitching staff, they have no margin for error at all. Landen Roupp today thought was okay until that 5th inning, when things started to get a little rocky for him. Didn't get a single out in that 5th inning, but until then he was cruising. He hadn't given up any runs, 7 strikeouts, had a couple of walks in this one as well, but the command started to slip in that 5th inning. So after he loads up the bases, he comes out of this game, and Randy Rodriguez comes in. And Randy has been so good in these clutch situations. He only gave up 1 hit. The only problem was that it allowed both of those runs to score that were charged to Roupp. So that wasn't great. But Randy, other than that, was pretty solid. 4 strikeouts, wasn't charged with any runs. So his ERA still sitting at 0.73 as he tossed 2 innings in relief today. Tyler Rogers, a nice shutdown inning, 3 strikeouts. And then you saw Ryan Walker, which I thought was a little interesting, because usually that's when you would see Camilo Doval. And that kind of signaled what I thought we were going to hear after the game, which was Bob Melvin telling media, as he just did a few moments ago, that Camilo Doval is now the closer of this team and Ryan Walker is moving to the setup role. And I can't I can't disagree with the decision. I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves at this point. Ryan Walker has been not as solid as Camilo Doval. There's no argument that you could make that Ryan Walker's having a better year than Camilo Doval. So it makes sense. But I've said this before on the show. I would have liked to see Randy Rodriguez get that nod. I think he has earned that role more than any other reliever on this team. Randy Rodriguez has been electric this year. He has been so damn good. And I know that he had a little slip up today when he had some inherited runners on base, but his ability to come in in high pressure situations with traffic on the bases and pitch out of it damn near every single time. I mean, this guy with the fresh inning, nobody's scoring runs off of it. Absolutely nobody is going to score a run off Randy Rodriguez in a fresh inning. So I would like to see him kind of get that opportunity at some point this season. Maybe if Doval slips up, then we'll see Randy Rodriguez in that role. But I really hope it doesn't come to that, because if Doval starts to fall apart again in that closer role, that's a bad situation. So let's hope that the light show doesn't mess with Camilo Doval, him moving back into that ninth inning. But it's a necessary move. Ryan Walker, I've defended him a lot this season, but I've also said that he's the most untrustworthy arm in the Giants bullpen right now. Like, he's the only guy who, when he comes out there, you're like, oh, is he going to have it today? Is he going to hit his spots? I mean, he's the only guy that kind of gives you a little bit of pause. Tyler Rogers comes out there, you know that's going to be a nice, easy inning. Randy Rodriguez comes out there, you know he's getting out of the jam. Eric Miller comes out there, you know that first batter or two might be a little bit of an adventure with him trying to find the strike zone, but as soon as he locks in, he's going to lock in. And you know it's a when, not if situation with Eric Miller and finding the strike zone. With Ryan Walker, it's the other way around. It's a if, not when situation. Ryan Walker, when he just doesn't have it, he just doesn't have it. So I do like that move, but ultimately, it's just got to be you got to have a lead in the ninth inning to utilize that closer role. And by the way, the Giants have not been very good on the road as of late. I mean, they started out 9-3 on the road. They have dropped 12 of their last 17 road games dating back to April 17th. And I think that's what you're going to be talking about after this one, amongst plenty of other things.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And it's obviously the main thing that has been hurting this team on the road is the offense. That comes as zero surprise to anybody. We're not breaking any news here, but they're slashing just 196, 267, 295 in those 17 games. That is gross. Those numbers make me want to puke all over my keyboard right now. They're averaging 3.18 runs per game in that situation, which coincides directly with the Giants' last 11 games. I mean, they have not had any runs in those last 11 games. They have failed to score more than 4 runs in 11 consecutive games now. And also on not just road games, but any game in general. And for as far as these last 17 road games, the Giants are, I mean, they're just, they're putrid right now. They're batting, their on base percentage is just 267 and batting 196 on the road since April 17th. Those are both the lowest in Major League Baseball. Their 5-12 record on the road since April 17th, 27th out of 30 Major League Baseball teams. The only 2 teams that they're better than, the Rockies and the White Sox. That's not a list that you want to be on. I mean, this team is better than that. I'm not saying that this offense should be a top 10 offense, but you got to be better than more than just the Rockies and the White Sox. That's just gross. Like I said, it just makes me want to throw up all over my keyboard right now. Absolutely disgusting stuff from the San Francisco Giants since about the middle of April on the road. So I think that's what you'll be talking about after this one. And we got to get a player of the game in before we get on out of here.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
And the player of the game is Elliot Ramos. He's the only guy who really seemed to want to win this game today. I mean, I know Matt Chapman had a pretty solid game as well. He went 3 for 4, a couple of doubles. But Elliot Ramos, a bomb. He was 3 for 4. He had a couple RBIs in this one as well. 2 of the Giants' 3 RBIs. Feels like every night I'm talking about Elliot Ramos as being the only guy on this Giants team who wants to actually provide a spark for the offense. And I was just taking a brief look at the chat, and I saw someone asking if I was all right. Yeah, Triple E, you all right, bro? No, I'm really not, man. Like, this Giants team gives me heartburn watching this offense try to muster any kind of anything on the road, especially. Like, I am dying here watching this team struggle the way they are. They need to find a way to get off the struggle bus. Thought it was going to be a nice a win today with Landen Roupp on the bump. He was going to give them a very solid chance to stop this little losing skid that they've got going. But Landen Roupp ultimately ends up 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, and 4 runs. It's not very good. He entered the day with like the 6th lowest National League ERA, something around there. But he ends up today, that ERA climbs a little bit after having a pretty subpar outing as far as his last couple games go. His ERA has now climbed up to 3.54. So Landen Roupp, I think that he had a decent day. It just kind of fell apart for him there in that 5th inning. So the Giants can't get it done. If you're looking for a finger to point it at the offense, because and it's not just one person, it's this entire unit as a whole. Leave Elliot Ramos out of it. Everyone else is just, pathetic right now. Like, it looks like I don't know what I'm watching. It looks like I'm watching the Sacramento River Cats versus the rest of Major League Baseball. So the Giants fall today 4-3. They have a much needed off day tomorrow, where I hope to God every single player on this team gets their hacks in the batting cages tomorrow and does some soul searching as to what kind of team they want to be, because this slide can either continue and we can enter June and have a nice little June swoon where the Giants free fall and fall into like 3rd or 4th place in the division, or they could turn it on and they could change the trajectory of their season. Go get that life raft. Go get Rhys Hoskins and give this team a little bit of life support. That's absolutely what this team needs, is a shot in the arm, a shot of adrenaline. And I think Rhys Hoskins would be the perfect guy to provide that. That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you on Friday when the Giants play Miami. That is a very winnable road series. This is the perfect opportunity to right some wrongs that have been very prevalent in the Giants, last 17 road games, as we just talked about. Please, for the love of God, win this series. I want to see a game where the Giants score like 8 or 9 runs. That's really what I'm hoping for. I don't know if I'm expecting that, though. So we'll see what happens in Miami. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.